Good evening, guys. How are you all doing today? I hope you're doing fine. Today, we're going to be continuing with this video series, and we're going to be getting into the meat of code today. So, today, we're going to be doing writing our hello world. You know what else? It's conventional for us to, it is conventional for you to always write a hello world in every programming language when you start out. Well, this isn't going to be different. If you want it to be different, you help me, but we're going to be doing our hello world today, and then we're going to talk about modules and controllers. Let's start easy, and as usual, we are going to keep it as simple as possible. I always want to keep this tutorial as simple as possible so that anybody who comes can easily understand and follow up and ask questions. Okay, I told you that's really important. So without wasting much time, let's just get to it. First of all, you click open your text editor, whichever one you're going to be using. Okay, I'm just going to close this out. Yeah, right. You open your text editor and you open your browser so that when you type into the code, but usually I can just snap this to the left saying that I'm using a Windows 10. If you're using a Windows 8, I think you can also snap, but if you're using a Windows 7, you can adjust the sizes yourself. Okay, so we're just going to go directly after opening your browser and your code editor. The next thing you need to do is you create, I will advise if you can create a folder, if you can create a personal folder for this tutorial. You can just name it Angular, right? Inside this, we're going to be having the files we're going to be writing our codes, our JavaScript, our CSS, our index file. Okay, so from here we can afterwards you come here, and then let's start out. First, we're going to be writing the hello world. That's what we're going to do now. So we're going to need an index. We're going to need an index page. But before we start out, you need to make sure that you've got the Angular JS file, because that's always the first thing to do. Okay, I'll pretend that's not the first thing, and I'll start coding at once. So we're going to type HTML or type HTML. Let's keep this as simple. We have our head. Right, we have the body. HTML. Okay, here we can have a title and just say Angular JS. Okay, so we have this. Right, afterwards we know we're going to have our script tag here. Now, as you can see, we have the structure for a typical HTML document. Well, under our head we have our title, we have our script, and we can also have our styles here. You know, we can have our styles here, we can have our metadatas, we can have our meta style. Okay, then when you have a framework, the structure, then you can save, okay, you can find the folder you created and you can save this as index.html. Do not forget the extension is really important. You can, when you're using Notepad++, you can just follow along. Now you see that it changes colors. Okay, it indicates where you have mistakes, you indicate where, you know, the color just helps you out. Okay, okay, now this script, you know what happens here. This is where we always put in our the URLs or the path to whichever script that's going to be running with our apps. So this script, what are we going to do here? We're first going to have to download the Angular library, or we're first going to download it. So you just head over to Google and then you can type Angular JS. Now you see that it brings us the first link, and then it just takes us to their home page. Okay, then I already have it, right? So then you can click on download Angular. You see it's going to give us the latest the latest version, the latest edition where they have upgrades and whatever. It's always good to have your AngularJS updated. So all you just have to do is hit on the download page. After it's downloaded, you can go for the modified version or you can go for the uncompressed version. I started with the uncompressed version so I can once in a while look into the code and see how the codes are working. But if you cannot do that, it's okay. All right, you go for the uncompressed version, right? Okay, so you just do that and hit the download button. Afterwards, you should have it wherever it is you downloaded it. Then you can go to wherever you downloaded it, and you should have something like this, the Angular. This is the file we just downloaded. So you take that file, you copy or you cut, whichever one you want to do. Then you go back to Angular. Here you create in your folder that's Angular, you create a new folder and call it script. Yeah, here you know you're going to be adding your JavaScript files, and then inside of it you drop the Angular. So you know when you're referring to Angular here in your code, you do this, you say source, you know that that's talking about a path. Since it's in the same directory, all you have to do is reference the file relatively. So you're going to have script here, and then the name of the AngularJS file. We have Angular. Yours might be different, Angular mean, Angular whatever, or Angular with a version number in front of it, but mine is just simply Angular. So angular.js. Okay, now we are set to go. Oh, not necessarily. This is just a link to the Angular library, to the Angular framework or whatever it is you're going to call it. But this is a link to the AngularJS that actually bootstrap or does all the work you're going to be coding. And after which, it's really important for you to have another. Okay, let's leave this. Let's just go ahead. Right now we have the path to the Angular. Now since we're going to be writing our hello world, let's just kick into this. We should not understand something for this first time. It's okay. All right, relax. You're going to understand as we continue this video. Okay, what do we do now? Okay, so we're just gonna do this and say sorry, hello name. Right now, if you have to come here and then open this up, Angular. After loading, you get a hello name, because we know how the browser works. All it does is interpret what's in the body. Right now, this is what it can see right now. We have a link or a path to the Angular, but nothing is working yet. That means we still have to set up some things before it can kick in and start working. So what do we do? There's what we call bootstrapping an app. Bootstrapping an app is, telling Angular that from this element and its children elements, we are going to be hooking this particular element to the AngularJS, and we'll let AngularJS take care of whatever it is that it's got to take care of that is related to AngularJS. So how do we do that? You remember the former time I said we can have in here. Oh, sorry about this. HTML here. We can have it here. We can have it either in our HTML, in our body, or in any other elements in the body. Okay, so what do? Let's decide that we want to have a custom div for this. Say we have div and we have div, so we have a custom div for this, right? So here we can say ng app. This ng app is a directive. We're going to be talking lots more on directive. Directive is one of the most complex topic in Angular and also very powerful. So this is what you do. ng app, you can say my app, right? Now this from here is where Angular starts, or Angular bootstraps itself. bootstrap is the starting point, right? It's the starting point of the Angular JS. So after that, let's go ahead and refresh. We refresh and still nothing, right? Because we are not, we haven't